Hi, Leo. I'm going to give you a little bit of a reading here, 4 cards and clarification plus oracle information on this Lionsgate portal that we are walking through right now. What are you leaving behind? What can you expect? What does the tarot want you to remember as you go through this portal that is potentially transformative? And what should you let go as you walk through? So those are the 4 cards we're going to pull. But first I'm going to go ahead and get you a little advice from the oracle here. I keep getting this perseverance card about this. So even though it's August 8th is like the day when Sirius, the dog star, lines up with Orion's belt and pyramids of Gaza, I've read, check my work. That's the date. We're actually in this phase since mid-July through really to the end of Leo season. Of course, it's named the Lion's Gate because the lion and Leo are associated. But I keep getting perseverance. It suggests this is going to be slow. It's a little bit of the slowpoke night vibe. But let's see what you get here. Cut the deck. Let's see what Oracle wants to tell Leo. So Leo, we see that you get, blind. There's something that you're not seeing. You need to ask somebody a question. So there's something you're perceiving incorrectly. So ask them. Ask somebody. I'm going off memory, but yeah, a warning that there may be something you don't see. Perhaps you need to look at something from someone else's perspective. That's better. So if you're seeing something from your perspective, try and look at it from whoever this other person, who do you think of when I said that? You need to ask, or you need to know what their perspective is. Here you get perseverance again. Wow. Okay. It's going to take some time here, and that's it. Everything else is in reverse, and we'll stop there. Well, this could be interesting. All right, we're going to ask the Guardian of the Night Tarot. Yeah, so what do you need to see from somebody else's perspective? I'm actually kind of getting a Hanged Man feel here, like that until you see this, you're going to just be hanging out here. It's like the Hanged Man is hanging upside down. And you can see things differently when you hang upside down. It's a little bit like seeing it from somebody else's viewpoint. And I think about power for some reason, because when you're hanging upside down, you see it from lower down, like the way a kid would see it, or a person that has less power, maybe. That just came into my head, so let's see how it develops. And this deck, Guardian of the Night, has beautiful lions in it, so maybe we'll see some of these big cats here today. Let's see. All right, Leo. So the first card we're pulling is going to be, so you're walking through this portal, this Lion's Gate. What are you walking away from? You are walking away from 8 of Pentacles. Very much a job. So a situation where you've been working your butt off, like this wasp, storing up food. I think of bees do honey. What do wasps store in their nests? I gotta look that up. Anyway, it's a hard-working wasp. A little bit, the wasp can be quite, wasps bite. They're meat eaters. Maybe you're giving up meat, Leo. But if you're already a vegetarian, there's a kind of, a meanness. I'm getting this, and I don't know if it's your meanness, but it's somebody's meanness, and it's in the work realm. Yeah. I mean, I respect wasps. So maybe it's just like a mode of being at work. Maybe we'll clarify and find out more, Leo. Okay, what you're walking towards, how funny. Being a little honeybee. 10 of Pentacles. Wow. All right, hardworking Leo. So this is you going from being a wasp to being who works alone to being a happy little honeybee that's working in this whole community. And look, it's a much different vibe, right? Very gray, very, there's lots of flowers here. I see, I saw these. So the contrast is not too great, but what I see is more integration. I see three things that are separate here: work, wasp, identity, and the flowers. When I look at the bees, I'm seeing more sharing. Everybody has a flower. There's more than one being here. And yeah, the honeybee is a different way of storing. It's a sweeter kind of bug, I guess. It's I feel like if this is at work, this moving from solitude, and the Ten of Pentacles is very often like a family, the whole home, the whole security of abundance. So I see you moving from solitude to some kind of community or family in a much happier, integrated work life balance in some way. Okay, the tarot wants you to remember as you go through this, the Queen of Swords. This is, wow, the Queen of Swords, very powerful here in this deck, this owl that brings the truth. And she is the one that has clarity. She's quite discerning. She can, I never read the air sword people as cold. I just think it's a different way. It can appear cold, but so very often, like, you get the Queen and King of Swords and a reader will be like, oh, they're cold. So if that resonates, go ahead. Remember to be cold. Remember to be clear. Sometimes you have to be cold in order to make a change. But because you're going from being a wasp to a honeybee that's with a bunch of other honeybees and they're buzzing around on their flowers and collecting honey, and it's all full of magic. What I think of the Queen of Swords is that she has clarity to cut from her life a way of being. Can be people, could be a job, could be a quit. I mean, I don't know why I'm getting quit your job, but I can think of one Leo who might be thinking about it this way. So that kind of ability to cut out what isn't working. She's very good at that. She can do that. She sees clearly. She makes a decision. Boom. Free. She's very free because she's willing to grab hold of the truth and act with it. But I don't get cold. I see all of the magic here. All of that inspiration. I see that big red moon behind her. I see the season of autumn. And tomorrow is Lunasa, which is the Celtic festival of the harvest. So I see it very much like the kind of harvest of truth, clarity. What you want to let go of is a Three of Pentacles. It's interesting because you're kind of moving towards collaboration, and the Three of Pentacles here, it's very much a card about collaborating with others to make your vision real in the world. That's the meaning of it. Here, the collaboration is these three wolves are hunting this stag. It's a very unfriendly work environment where you feel isolated, different from everybody else, and you are the prey. You feel like in danger from your coworkers, and that's why you're working like this alone. Wow, that's very clearly came through that you're this stag being who feels, yeah, and then this wolf here, that's the one. There's somebody very alluring who keeps you, but who's looking out at me, your tarot reader, and I'm feeling, oh, what do I feel? It's very crafty feeling of like, it's almost like I'm encountering that nature of the predator who's like, I'm going to eat you. I'm going to eat your friend. I'm going to eat your Leo friend, tarot reader, Yeah, so in some way, like, I see you moving out of a situation where you're isolated at work, or wherever you're trying to make this life. Through Pentacles, it's very Pentacles. We got 8, 10, and then 3. So if we go back to this blindness, right? Remember, you need to see something from somebody else's perspective. And that's what happened to me twice with this card. For one thing, the 3 of Pentacles, this is about the wolves. This card is about the wolves collaborating to get security, their dinner, the stag, right? But then all of a sudden I see you're the stag. And so then there's that perspective shift. I'm seeing your reading through the eyes of the prey instead of through the eyes of the predator. And then I see the wolf. This is, let's see what happens when we clarify, but this is what you want to let go of here. This card, as you walk through this portal, and the wolf is telling me something, and it's very much about, like, human tarot reader, I'm a wild animal and I'm gonna eat this stag. So I actually think about something that a Leo friend recently reminded me of, actually. And I'm trying to think, because I tend to be optimistic, and I like the strength card. The lion lies with the lamb, the woman's putting her hand in the lion's mouth, and it's one of Leo's cards. And my friend was like, in nature, that lion's going to eat that lamb. And that's what I feel like that wolf is telling me. And I think it's an attitude, it's an orientation towards the world, which is that, what is nature? Nature is wolf eats deer. And so in some way, can we move away from that, believing that narrative, or some attitude that we have towards that narrative? I mean, I don't have anything against wolves are predators and they eat deer and they collaborate and hunt, and I think that's beautiful. And but anyway, this isn't our let go. We'll find out more. Underlying this reading, a few things. I love this. Okay, so first of all, we get the Queen of Cups. This is your emotional depth, your ability to receive. This is a cup that represents divine love or true love or some kind of heart, right? There's no hearts, there's no cups in the baseline here, so I'm glad to see the Queen of Cups. And she's with your Queen of Swords, who is able to make a decision with clarity. The Queen of Cups uses her heart. She's quite good at communicating her emotions. Yeah. And I'm seeing here in the image the little crab, and the Cancerians in the water signs. So Queen of Cups can be Cancerian. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of, actually, so what this leads me to is that there is a reticence that happens when you go in your shell. And that's what's happening when you're this wasp. You're like going in your shell, you're working alone, and you're doing that because you're in this kind of work environment. It's not safe, right? But the Queen of Cups is really about opening up about her feelings. And so this particular Queen of Cups that I'm seeing, the crab that reminds me of like a hermit crab going in the shell to protect herself. I also see this shell. There's a little bit of you coming out of your shell and opening up about what your heart tells you. And then there's some kind of manifestation, and it's coming in. You get the Three of Wands. You're getting divine support. This is a beautiful day. We see two birds. One is, I feel, bringing passion to the other. Wands represent willpower, passion, some kind of help here between these two birds. Which bird are you? Are you the one bringing the gift, or are you the one waiting for the gift? Again, like, because of this blind card, like, I feel this as a reader, like, I feel my consciousness moving between, first I think you're this bird, and somebody's bringing you a passionate gift. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, you're this bird, bringing this bird your passion, right? Your Queen of Cups heart. So yeah, we're just really seeing things from the perspective of multiple beings in these images. And finally, just if you may recall, I talked about how your oracle cards make me think of the Hanged Man hanging upside down. I already explained this, so that this is underlying. Let me just say, this should give you confidence in your tarot reader. The Hanged Man, that this is about you staying where you are, which is not a pleasant place or not a pleasant way of existing, not as fun and full of sweetness and integration and equality and justice and family and community as this Ten of Pentacles, that you just stay where you are until you are enlightened, right? You can see this possum hanging upside down, this little crown, again, making us think of Leo time, of you, Leo. This is enlightenment. And when you get enlightenment, when you look at things from a different perspective, and it takes time. It takes as long as it takes, and it's really out of your hands. That's why perseverance. So blind plus perseverance equals Hanged Man. Okay. That's it. All right, we're going to clarify here with... No, I'm going to change this deck because one of my dear Leos asked me not to use this deck for her. So let me see. I really like this deck. Okay. I love clarifying with that Wiccan deck, but it just has a lot of naked people in it. Okay. This one does too, but they're not as it's kind of, I don't know, cartoonish. So this is the Klimt deck. So we're going to clarify this Eight of Pentacles here. Not that I presume that this Leo will watch this reading, but came in my head. So, Eight of Pentacles. What are you walking away from? Oh, Five of Swords. Vulnerability. This is a card of self-harm. It's a card of, I did it, I won, I got what I wanted, but I don't feel very good about it. But when I look at it in this deck, I see this vulnerable person. She's, it's like when you look at art, I don't want to be the person whose butt is towards the viewer. No, that's vulnerable. That's like, ooh, caught me naked, caught me with my pants down. Okay, Four of Cups. She has her hand on her heart. Four of Cups is a feeling of lack. It's a thinking about all that is empty. There's 3 empty cups and a 4 of Cups, and then there is a 4th that is full, that is ready to be received. And we see the same cup here in this Queen of Cups. This is an emotional situation where you feel there's some self-harm or vulnerability, just a really uncomfortable Five of Swords experience, combined with a feeling of lack, and it hurting your heart here. So being this Eight of Pentacles here, right? Remember I said the wasp can be a little bit of a dangerous, vicious bug, at least compared to the honeybee. Honeybees don't bite, and when they sting you, that's it. That's a desperate act. They die when they sting you, but the wasps can bite you and fly on. And so that's what I'm getting here is regret. You're living that way though for a reason. It's a focus on lack, and we were guessing from this card coming up and what you want to let go of. It's because you're in an environment where you feel vulnerable, you feel unsafe. Okay. That's why you're acting in ways that are not your highest self, Leo. And then we get you with the Seven of Wands. Seven of Wands is definitely a card of integrity, of knowing who you are when you may be facing an adversary. This is a card where it's a Theseus killing the Minotaur. So can you see the Minotaur there? So the Minotaur and Theseus are from a Greek story about a young man, and he's raised in a family that, and he discovers he's actually the son of the king. He's a prince, so he goes to Athens. But when he gets to Athens and he meets his dad, Crete has a deal with Athens that they won't hurt them. They're a stronger, powerful community in an island in the Aegean called Crete. And they have a deal with Athens that Athens will give 14 of their most beautiful youth to Crete in sacrifice to the Minotaur. There's a beautiful books by Mary Renault called The Bull from the Sea and The King Must Die. I think they might be in the other order. King Must Die is first. Anyway, check it out about this, in which we see that when you get to Crete, it's a culture of bull dancing. So not to get too much into that, is a story I love and could just gloss on and on about. In the story of Theseus and the Minotaur, it's that there's this monster who's the son of the king of Crete, and he lives in a maze. And the king of Crete sacrifices 14 Greek youth to this monster who eats them. And Theseus arrives in Athens. He's reunited with his father, and then Crete comes for this tribute. Well, he volunteers to go because he's a noble. And he goes, and he's able through ingenuity and also through being, a prince and hot. And he seduces the daughter of the king to help him. She gives him some tools that allows him to find his way in and out of the maze. And he kills the Minotaur. And so this is a little story for you about what you're leaving behind. It looks like a world of danger, of heartache, of vulnerability, where you focused on lack and you have been protective of yourself in some way here. You've also been quite resourceful and badass, like Theseus and this wasp. But you're walking away from that towards this family, community, Ten of Pentacles, kind of much more integrated and happy little work life. Or home life, as you will interpret it. I leave it to you. Okay, Leo. Sorry for the long story. But look up Theseus, is how I always used to say it, and the Minotaur. And read those Mary Renault books. Okay, wow, there's some vast movement. You get the Chariot. Okay. Chariot is like moving from a place of stagnation and just suddenly getting the momentum and the mojo that you need to move forward. So this to me is you moving through this portal. And because we got the Seven of Wands, it's a card of resistance, of integrity, of willpower, and exerting that to get from that situation where you're feeling with your naked with your pants down and your butt at the camera, and a sense of lack. So anyway, you're moving here, and there is a Three of Cups. So this is again more heart. Three of Cups is friendship. It is reconciliation. And whenever I see this card, I see 3 cups, but I also see 2 people. And I feel like what I actually see here is a relationship. Remember we get the Three of Pentacles here. This is what you're kind of leaving behind, is this sort of hunting, predator, prey. And here you are. So each one has a cup, and then the cup between, like in relationship, the relationship is the third part of a relationship. Sometimes threes get read as third party situations. So if that is in play here, I don't see that. What I actually see is a friendship between two people, and that they each have themselves, and then they have the cup that is their friendship, or their. It's not a romance card. It's a friendship card. Um, let's see what's the third card. 8 of Swords. Feeling of being trapped, but also realizing that in fact you're not trapped. It's very awkward posture that she's in. 8 of Swords, it's a perception. Huh. So weird. Are you going towards this? Okay, let me see what else we have, and I'll come back here because Leo, I feel like I need to know a little bit more before I explain what's happening. Okay, so the Queen of Swords, you're supposed to remember clarity, ability to cut loose what doesn't work, wisdom. Queen of Swords, poor baby. She always gets such a bad rap. She'll be one of your air sign friends, like a Libra or a Gemini. You know, she's an intellectual, and just because you're intellectual doesn't mean you're cold. It just means you might just get overstuck in your head, but you also have a strong mind and ability to get clarity. And so we have a few swords here. We've got a couple. Swords tend to be uncomfortable. The brain can be a dangerous neighborhood. So here's your 5 of Swords. So here's your mind coming through. Self-harm, perception of being trapped, ability to realize, oh, in fact, I can just simply walk out of here. And there's your Queen of Swords. She's capable of walking out of there. What else? Temperance. There's that. It's going to take time. Temperance is about the alchemy of finding the right mix. Can't help but notice she has an apple. It seems like a reference to Eve. She's pouring her emotions into the head there on the ground. So that it really feels like a heart and mind, finding the right mix of heart and mind as you go about. So this is what you're supposed to remember. Secondly, the 8 of Cups. The 8 of Cups is really about going on a spiritual journey, leaving behind a place that is emotionally unfulfilling. The cards are very clear that you are currently leaving through this portal a place of unfulfillment. This is not a very safe and comfortable, really lonely place. That you're a solitary place, and you're missing something. Your heart lacks and wants. And since I see you moving really with that momentum of the Chariot towards this 3 of Cups, which is friendship, or it's an emotional community, I see that you're moving towards community. And the third card here is the King of Cups. Okay. The emotional intelligence of the King of Cups. He's not good at talking about his feelings, which is funny because I went into that thing about the Queen of Cups and all these shells coming up. They're like, you're in your shell. Could be a Scorpio. Okay, so I'll just say this, but when I look at this on the table, like I see her looking down at him, and I feel like she's got a fantasy. She has an idea of like, this is who I need. This is what I want. I want this King of Cups. Like, King of Cups is what she's kind of thinking about. And as she's thinking, she's mulling this over in her mind, right? Because we have the Hangman here, right? You're mulling something over. You're looking and seeing at it from somebody else's perspective. So that's what Temperance is doing. She's considering and mixing and being patient and waiting until she gets the right emotional alchemy And while she's doing that, I see this is what's happening in her brain. While she's thinking, what is missing? What am I missing? And then the answer is this King of Cups, this beautiful heart king. And the King of Cups is, it's a card of Scorpio. And that makes sense to me because Scorpios are known for being secretive. So somebody who isn't really open with their feelings, but they're deep feelers, right? They're intense. They've really examined their feelings, like the Queen of Cups that we see here, she's taken the deep dive into the emotional depths. So it may be you who knows that the answer, this is what you're supposed to remember as you walk through this portal. The answer is that you have this cup. That's what I feel like she's like, the problem is I have this deep love, this deep capacity to love, this heart. It's like, and this yearning, there's yearning here for community, for friendship, that you're actually walking through a portal with a great deal of that chariot momentum. And that's what I see. This is a portal. This is her walking through, and it doesn't feel safe. It feels really risky to do this. And it is like, if you're a person who's not open about your emotions, you are being told your 9 of Cups, your emotional fulfillment, your 10 of Cups, it comes from opening your heart up. Yeah, no doubt. And the reason that you're going to do that, you're going to say how you feel even though it doesn't feel natural for you, maybe, because you're in your hermit crab shell and you feel like, and you like it. And you're kind of this hardworking wasp, and you're powerful, but like you really want this. So the way to have this family life, this lovely friendship, the way to have that is to actually open your heart, like the Queen of Cups is known to do. This is why you don't have what you want, because you're not opening up about what you want. I feel like I've been repetitive. Sorry. It's like, I don't know. I might watch this later and be like, oh, okay, I needed to repeat myself 20 times. But when you're reading the cards, like the story just kind of, when it comes in, it's like, oh, okay. And that's what just happened. Okay, so we're letting go here. So it's funny that I arranged this reading as it's like the letting, what you need to let go of. And I think that's because I'm a Scorpio, you're a Leo, we're fixed signs. Like letting go is the hardest thing of all for fixed signs. We finish stuff. We tend to be interpreted as stubborn. And, that's true. We're capable of perseverance. Like this is in the nature of fixed people. You want us on your side to get the job done. We commit. And that's why we are protective and secretive around our hearts. Because once you fix on somebody with your laser focus, Sassy Scorpion described Scorpios, she said they're like ducklings, and they imprint on the first person that they are, or being that they're close to, usually another duck. And I wondered, Leo, if you have a similar trouble as a fixed sign with getting over heartbreak. So anyway, letting go is the last card we're going to clarify. It looks like kind of work environment, or just isolation of the stag with these wolves. And the wolves are like, yeah, we're going to eat the stag, right? So let's see. And I was just explaining like why for me that's the last thing. Like I'm really ready to go through the portal, do the next thing. I'll take the advice of being the Queen of Swords and recognizing that even as I remove those that don't serve me and leave and cut away, that like my fulfillment actually lies in still being a heart person, not cold, loving, expressive. Otherwise, I just end up a lonely wasp, right? Okay. Yeah, I saw this before. So, justice is here and you're letting go. So, use that sword, cut it. It isn't just kind of reiterates, remember this. So, as you let go, this is what you want to use your sword for, to let go. So, you can have the magic of this next phase of your life. The King of Swords. And I feel like this is here because you're walking away from doing this. Use that sword, cut away. There's a couple, cut out the assholes. It's very clear. But don't cut out your own heart when you're doing it. The King of Swords, he's been to war. He's wise for it. He's sad from it. You know, when you have to use that sword and you know it hurts, use it wisely. That's why I see the King of Swords is this, I call him the philosopher king. His philosophy is built from the experience of war, and he's a peaceful king because he's been to war, and you know he's almost like not identified with that sword. He's really just leaning on it at this point, and I don't think in a dependent way. I think it's just like an object that he's leaning on as he thinks, reflects from the wisdom of having really inflicted suffering. And so it makes me think of what you're leaving behind, that meat-eating wasp that makes you feel like this, to win through brute force, the swords. And this would be using your sharp tongue, using your intellect to, you know, really perhaps harming yourself because you're harming others. Like, I want to say the lashing out. And you do that because you feel like this stag. You're getting hunted. It's a victim mentality that you're moving away from. Yes, okay. Take or leave that. Then we get a Two of Swords. This is why you don't open your heart, because you can't decide. You get up in your head and you're wrestling around and you kind of love it. It's kind of hot, right? It's like really hot gay love. That's what I always think when I see this. Like, it's not really that hot. It's slow. It's like, I don't know. I feel like it makes me want to talk about mud wrestling. Like, or once I was in this rough town where my dad lived, and there were these biker chicks and they were fighting. You know, it wasn't fun to watch. It wasn't like Rocky. It wasn't like knockout punches. It was two women that grabbed hold of each other's hair and went like this. That's what I see this, like, it might feel good when you're in it. Like, he looks this fella, this redheaded guy, he looks very tired. It's like the part of the boxing match where they like grab hold of each other and they're just so tired. Yeah, I feel that way when I'm at Orange Theory sometimes. Just like when I was played basketball, and you just like, they'd make you run and run and run and run, and suicide after suicide. And which, sorry, I realize it can trigger people to talk about suicides. So sorry, I don't mean to offend. That's what we called just running in endless lines, and just like we'd sneak over to the wall and lean against it, and the coach would be like, that wall can hold itself up. So that's this thing. This is how you get in your head and you struggle and struggle and you don't decide. And the reason you don't decide, my friend, is because you're actually protecting your heart, like this King of Cups here. So remember, that leaves you unfulfilled. And there's so much other signs that you tend to ruminate. Okay, so you have a decision, Leo. It's a job-based decision or a home, family, security. It's very 3D. It could be your family life. Like, And you can leave behind the way of being a wasp and move into being a honeybee buzzing around with your fellow honeybees. But to do that, Leo, you had to open your heart. You had to come out of your shell. And the reason that you will want to do this is because you have a heart for other people, right? The philosopher king, the king of swords, he's been to war and he knows the suffering that it causes. And so I think he has a deep heart. He knows that being a wasp hurts others. And that when he hurts others, he harms himself and he ends up alone, the lonely wasp. And so this practice of protecting your heart, because once you love hard, you're thinking about it. You're thinking about it. And you can go through this portal. You don't have to be trapped. You can walk right out of this. See, so you could just stand up and walk through this portal, this lion's gate. But to do that is going to take some cups, some heart, some vulnerability. And that's why the naked cards are needed. Because you, Leo, feel vulnerable because you're unsafe. So you need to move into a situation where you're safe to be vulnerable. And the answer isn't never decide, never move, stay trapped in your Eight of Swords. The answer is leave the shitty people, be a Queen of Swords, so that it's safe to bring this beautiful heart forth to somebody who is a true friend, a true community person with you. There's no romantic vibe here for me, Leo. Let's see. King of Pentacles is here. So there is the heart. So the King of Pentacles, there's that 3D security. Like, this is why this sort of reiterates the Ten of Pentacles, what you're going towards. It's home, your home life, being the security king, very practical. And then there's this emotional love offer of the Knight of Cups, right? So you bring in your heart forward. Okay. Oh my goodness. All right, Leo, you have a lot going on under here, so I'll share it with you. Okay, this is how you've been living. Hermit, all alone. It's not bad. There's a lot of wisdom that comes from that. And then here's the quit your job card, the 10 of Wands. There's some kind of burden that you need to put down, whatever that is. It could be it's a quit your job, but it could also be like a burden that's preventing you from living this heart forth way. Like, it's preventing you from being one of these little honeybees, okay? There is the Knight of Swords. This is the wasp. This is the way of the wasp. This is angry, lashing out, fast movement, very different from... I feel like there's this tension in you, Leo, between the heart and the mind. And I think it came up when we looked at Temperance, right? Because she's pouring her emotions into her mind. There's this apple. It represents, I think, temptation. But I don't know, because, it's just because iconographically... I lost where there's a couple more cards here on the bottom. There is an Ace of Pentacles. This is a new beginning. Very 3D, very much, again, speaking to the honeybees, to the King of Pentacles, there's some kind of sweet, secure family life, very earthy, full of heart, that is underlying this. And then there is also this fear of yours about opening up. 7 of Swords. This is being secretive. This is And there she's at this slumber party with her friends, and she cannot sleep, right? She has a secret, and it's keeping her up at, I mean, it's not insomnia here, but in this image, it makes me think a little bit of how you have something to tell. You have something that you need to open up about, and you're thinking about it too much. Just open your heart. I tell you that as a Scorpio who loves being secretive, loves privacy. But if you want to move from the way of the wasp and have this honeybee life, got to open up, got to tell your secret, and there's integrity there. There's a couple cards here about living in integrity, a 7 of Wands and a 7 of Swords. They're both about different methods of resistance. One is very much about willpower. The other is about secrets and lies. Both cards remind you that the power is from your heart, and it is in opening up and being vulnerable, that in fact when you're truly vulnerable, you're safer. Because you have nothing to hide, and nobody's going to catch you, and everything's out on the table, and then you take it or leave it is the attitude that you have when you do that. And if people leave it, it's just better to know. Then you just use your Queen of Swords ability to just walk away from the ones that don't get you. Yeah, walk away from the ones that make you feel like you're getting hunted, like you're not safe. That's your reading, Leo. It went quite long, but I hope it helped. Okay, interesting.